Do you have a kicker?
Got a couple of them. It's still a battle. I mean, everybody's doing really, really well. I mean, Miles is kicking really well, and Chance is kicking well, and Grant's been, if I had to go today, he's the kickoff guy. I mean, it's been amazing. I'm just really proud of him where he's, tried to find a niche, try to find a way. He cares about his teammates and wants to do well. So it's like, okay, where can I help the team? And, he's kicking them, 6, 7, 8 yards deep in the end zone, So, there's a battle, there at the kicker spot, no question.
We talk a lot about the quarterbacks, how they haven't really experienced it. Is kicker one of those things too, where you don't really know until they're thrown into the fire?
Absolutely. I mean, it's I could probably make 8 out of 10 free throws, out in the driveway, but if I got to make 2 to win the game, that's a big deal. So you don't know till you get them out there and see what they're going to do. Now Miles has been in a game, both as a kicker, and as a punter, and really a lot of pressure on him, as the punter last year, having never done that and being put in that moment. So you feel good about that, seeing that. And then you feel good about, I feel a little better about Max than I would a true freshman from the standpoint he's played in front of however many people you get at an Australian rules football game. I've heard it's a pretty big deal, 60, 70,000 is, a guess. But so he's played in those venues anyhow. So, but there's no question it's different than practice.
How can you use that redshirt rule as far as special teams goes, and the guys can play the 4 games and not lose their red shirt? Is that something you guys are discussing as a staff, how you can sort of work guys in?
Well, it's really difficult, because Coach Stoops doesn't want to say, hey, they got 4 games, so let's go ahead and play them 2 plays here and 3 plays there and 4 plays there, and then all of a sudden game 7 somebody gets hurt and they're going to be a 25 play a game guy, and now you could have got through to the end of the season, and now you got to lose a whole year, So Coach Stoops is being very protective of that offensively and defensively. So because of that, I've got to be protective on special teams. I can't take, and there are some freshman guys that are really talented, and I can't say, hey, you come on here, I want you on all 4 special teams, because I can't do that until, I get the green light that offensively and defensively they're going to be used more than just, sporadically. So I think that where that will show up as an advantage will be later in the year, because now if you keep those guys in the fold, and that's a balancing act as well. How many guys do you keep in the fold getting reps that they're going on the plane, but you can't use them? Yeah. So how many, taking those away from other guys? So that's a little bit of a balancing act. But if you can keep guys focused and into it and getting a rep or 2 here and knowing what they're doing, if you do have injuries at the end of the year, those last 3 or 4 ball games, that could be where I think you could see that rule really taking effect.
With your kickers, is it all about just sort of the analytics of it? This guy's made this many from this amount, this many from this amount, or are there nuances we don't see?
No, that's the biggest part of it. Is just charting every single kick from this hash, that hash, middle, the distance, and all that, and just checking the accuracy of it. But like we talked about earlier, that's all fine and well until all of a sudden those distances mean we're going to go up by a point with a minute to go or something.
Do you have a Charles Mushi on this team this year? Just on special teams?
It's funny because we watch and the training tape and all that during camp. When we looked at every special team, it was, okay, guys, here's how you do it. I couldn't tell you how many times it was a Mushi rep. We're working on safe punt. Here's how you down the punt. We're working on kickoff. Hey, here's how you go face side U-turn on the kickoff. Well, it's Mushi. And I mean, every single, rep, it seemed like, of a cut-up of showing a guy, here's how you do it. It was Mushi. So I think he started a fire with the special teams guys as a whole. And I think there's guys on the special teams that, in their mind, in their heart, they're out here saying, okay, I'm going to be the next Mushi. I really believe that.
And on the kickers, has it been good days and bad days, or have they been pretty consistent? There's just not much separation between the two.
Not a lot. They've really been pretty consistent, as far as accuracy. Now, I think Chance has missed maybe a few more than Miles. Being a freshman, he had to get used to the timing of it. It's a lot faster snap. It's a lot faster hold. It's a lot faster everything. And he had to get used to that, I think. So, and we're pushing him, in all fairness to him, we're pushing him beyond as far as yardage. We kind of know where Miles' max is, and so we're not, pushing miles beyond that, we don't do it in a game. It's always, Coach Stoops saying, hey, do you think he can make it from here, and telling him yes or no, determining whether or not he's going to go for it or, what he's going to do. So, but Chance has a bigger leg. So I think part of him having more misses is us knowing he's got a bigger leg. Let's see if he can be accurate from, 47 and 50 and 53 and that sort of thing.
Could you see a short kicker, long kicker scenario?
Possibly, but again, we're getting back into the redshirting
Right.
thing. You'd hate to, go out there in one kick and lose it, but, that's a little bit different than, a guy playing one rep on a punt team. That one rep may win you a game, so that's a decision, Coach Stoops will have to make, because I'm sure they'll, both travel and be ready for that scenario. If you had a 56-yarder to win the game, who do you trot out there? Right now it'd be Chance.
Getting the distance and the hang from those guys on the kickoffs.
Yeah, Grant's been phenomenal. All the guys have been doing it and doing pretty good, but Grant's been phenomenal with his height and his distance on his kickoffs.
On defense, what have you seen from Jordan Griffin so far this game?
JG's very versatile. He's a very hard worker. He's very detail oriented. We've got him at a lot of spots. He's played strong safety. He's playing, nickel. He's playing a dime. He's on every special team. He knows what to do. So, I've just seen a consistent, versatile player that's dependable.
And then Dominic Williams, we haven't heard a lot about him in the last few weeks. What positions do you all have him working?
Dom came in and, first he had the wrist or hand thing and that kind of got him, and he got that going. Then he pulled a hamstring, and I really feel bad for him. But he was out here today for the first time, and we're really starting to, work him in some special teams. Just, even today, even being the first day that he was cleared, watching it, not letting him full cover on punts, but let him do the punt protection and some of that type of stuff. He's a corner. He's going to primarily be a corner. If he can work his way into that, role, the fourth corner, the fifth corner, then we can use him on some special teams.
How much of a push has Devontae Robinson made to get more points?
D-Rob, he's been, phenomenal. We've worked him a lot at nickel. That's been where we've really been pushing him to lock down that nickel spot. You got Mike Edwards, is phenomenal at nickel. The problem with that, he's phenomenal at the strong safety too. So, we've been attacking that really two angles. Leave him at nickel and Jordan Griffin at the strong safety, and then bringing D-Rob at the nickel and moving, Mike back to the strong safety. So we've kind of attacked that two ways just to have a little bit of depth there.
You got a lot of talented guys back there. Are some of those guys who can maybe help you on the special teams?
Oh, they're all on there. Yeah, every DB's, on every special team.